Today I want to talk about this question. Is Amazon FBA harder than it used to be? Or is it easier than it used to be? A few days ago, we posted a new blog post on the blog over at fulltimefba.com all about overcoming your fear of selling on Amazon via FBA. If you want to see that blog post, you can go to fulltimefba.com/fear of starting. And that blog post really opened up some really good conversations in the comments. And there were so many people who were just kind of complaining about, Amazon FBA used to be so much easier years ago. It's so much harder now. And I thought, is that true? Is it really true that Amazon FBA is harder now? And today I want to kind of give you some perspective about my thoughts, my views on this topic. First, let me answer the question. Is Amazon FBA harder now than it was a few years ago? And my answer is yes. And my answer is no. So, was selling on Amazon easier a few years ago? The answer is yes, and the answer is no. And I'll explain. Some aspects of selling on Amazon today are more difficult than they were a few years ago. I mean, there's more brands that are restricted. There's more categories that are gated that need approval. There's more FBA sellers to compete with. There's long-term storage fees that have been introduced recently. You got the 12-month long-term storage fee, the 6-month long-term storage fee. Fees continue to go up all the time. Any type of business goes on, the fees start going up, because guess what? The profits are going up too. Anyway, there's so many different aspects about Amazon FBA that are harder now than they used to be. But let's take a look at the flip side of that. There are so many more things about selling on Amazon FBA that are easier now than they used to be. I mean, you have multiple sourcing apps. Yes, there were people who used to source and sell on Amazon before there were apps that could help make a split-second decision for you. And I mean, there were people who actually went to retail stores with a notepad and a pen, would write down UPC numbers, go back to their house, look up online to see what things are selling for online, go back to the store and hope that those items were still there. I mean, imagine doing Amazon that way. That's how it was, 4 or 5 years ago. And then Scam Power came out with a sourcing app, and then there are other sourcing apps that came out. Profit Bandit, we use Scatify, that's bundled with the Inventory Lab software. But it's just so much easier when it comes to actually sourcing and getting the data. Right now, today we have free access to pricing charts, pricing history. We can see what Amazon and third-party new, third-party used have historically priced certain items at. We can look at sales rank history for free and see how well items sell and make better decisions. We have, for online arbitrage, we've got multiple Chrome extensions that have been created that make online arbitrage so much easier. There are product lists that you can subscribe to. You're basically buying a list that's giving you ideas of things to buy. This didn't exist years ago. There's multiple reselling Facebook communities, Facebook groups. We've got ours, fulltimefba.com/Facebook, but there's other groups out there that are just all about, there's groups for newbies, there's groups for people who just focus on books, just focusing on clothes, just focusing on shoes, just focusing on, there's got so many different groups out there that you can be involved in and get a ton of free information. Seller Central is 1 billion times better, and creating listings through Seller Central, creating shipments through Seller Central 1 billion times better than it used to be years ago. And the biggest of all, there's so much free and quality paid information out there to help you build your Amazon FBA business. Most of the people who built this years ago, built their Amazon business years ago, had to do it through trial and error. And so, yes, there are things that are harder about Amazon now than there were before in the good old days. But guess what? The good old days also had a bunch of things that were horrible and frustrating, time-wasting, that are so much easier and better now today. So it's all about perspective. And the people who if you're just focusing on the negatives, try to rotate your perspective and see things from the positive light to see all the really good things that are out there now. I know there's probably more good things that I'm not even mentioning that are involved with selling on Amazon. It really comes down to your mindset. And if you're part of the mindset that is a fixed mindset, that you're just focused on the negative and you're focused on things are, You know, every time something changes, it's a bad thing. You really need to do your best to go to a growth mindset and find the fuel in the change, because it's those people who fuel their mental energy by saying, okay, how can this change impact us in a positive way? How can these new rules or these new restrictions or these new changes to Amazon, how can this impact me in a positive way? And what can I do to turn this into a profit? That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you scroll down, you could leave a comment, like this video, leave us a question. You can also find all the links that we talked about in this video. You can find that in the description below. And be sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got so many more videos coming up. We don't want you to miss out on anything. And as always, the best place to find all the information of turning part-time hours into a full-time income is the website fulltimefba.com. I'll see you there.